Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EO Alive.
Hey, Eastern Oregon, thank you for joining us today on this April the 6th CHD Covid update. And like always, I'm pleased to have Carrie Brigiotti here with me today. How you doing? Have you had a chance to get out and enjoy that sun at all?
I was just outside for a few minutes. I've actually taken off my super warm boots and socks today for the first time in a really long time. So I am really, really grateful for this beautiful day.
Oh, good. And did you enjoy the weekend? Did you do anything fun over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy the weekends. It's nice to have a little bit of a break, but I don't, I'm still, if I'm being honest, staying close to home, but that tends to be my normal anyway. I'm a little bit of a homebody. So I definitely spent a little bit of time outside enjoying the warmer weather and reading a book and spending time with my family that lives with me in my household. So I definitely had a great weekend and really looking forward to warmer weather and longer days.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I've talked with others before, and you and I might have also, is that like, yeah, this COVID climate has been perfect for people that are kind of antisocial anyhow. And I don't know if you're that way, but it's like, yeah, I finally get my jive, so.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely more of an introverted homebody, but even the introverted homebody in me is, I think, missing people more than I realize. So, I've been really fortunate that I've had the opportunity to go help at our vaccine events, and it's really nice to not only be giving vaccine, but interacting with people as well. I think even those of us that are naturally inclined to spend time by ourselves still need that interaction.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, yesterday I went to a vaccine event. It was our news director decided to become vaccinated, and his health issues are such that he fit the envelope right now. And so he allowed us to kind of tag along and got a little bit of video and take a look at this. This is good.
Hey everyone, this is Alex McCadden, your EO Alive news director, and I'm here at Riviera Activity Center to get my vaccine. I encourage everybody who is able to come and get the vaccine themselves. We can do this together.
Here we go. Yeah, they've already seen them. Kazi's an OHSU nursing student. He's working with us today. Yeah. Not too bad.
So they have to wait about 30 minutes afterwards, and so he's kind of hanging around and then making up the follow-up appointment so then right then and there they're making the appointment for the follow-up, the second shot for the vaccination.
Yeah, we've one of the things that we do in public health, I think in general, is try and always look for opportunities for improvement. And so we've done quite a few of these vaccine clinics right now by this point in time. And I think every single time we identify something that we're like, oh, maybe if we tweak this, it'll be a little bit better next time. And so initially, we were having people schedule their second dose appointments online themselves, just like they were scheduling their first dose appointment. Or obviously we call people if that's not an option for them. And we, a few weeks ago, decided to try the scheduling of the second dose while people were there, and it's working really well. So again, we just keep getting better and better at this. And hopefully someday we won't need to keep getting better and better because we'll have everybody that wants it taken care of, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you, it was efficient. I mean, it went really well, and it was good to see other people there, because of the HIPAA issues, you can't, but still we saw people that we recognized, and it was good. It was good for them to be there too. In fact, I think Tom Ensko, I know he posted on his Facebook page, had a picture of him taking the vaccination. And so, yeah, very cool. So,
Yeah.
So talk to us about the group that we're in now and who the vaccine is available to.
Yeah. So, you made a comment about the eligibility criteria, and I mean, right now, if I'm being honest, at this point, there are it's pretty wide open right now. And I was talking with somebody the other day, and they said if you're over 18, then you're probably very likely to fit into one of the categories that are currently eligible. Now, some folks that are 16 and 17 years old are eligible currently and will be eligible when it opens up on the 19th. Right now, we only have vaccine in our county for people that are 18 and older. So I think I mentioned last time we talked that we're really working with OHA to try and come up with a way to get the Pfizer vaccine here that would allow us to get the 16 and 17-year-olds. But, you know, I do know it creates some confusion when OHA is opening up that group, but we don't necessarily have the vaccine to get that group. So anyway, right now we're in phase 1B, group 7, I think. Sorry, you just put it up and took it down, but that's where we're at right now. I think there's a couple of, the frontline workers, which I believe we talked about last week, anybody who interfaces with other people that they don't live with in their job, and that's not able to do their job from home. They really do need to be doing that job in person and working with people and customers. They would be considered frontline workers and eligible. Now, there's more detailed information on OHA website if you really want to drill down on those frontline workers, but there's lots of detail. Yeah. And so again, when you see lots of detail, I think the message that I want our community to know is that means a lot of people fit this criteria. We also have learned last week that the governor has said that people that live in the household with those frontline workers are also eligible. So again, really broadening the categories. Multi-generational households. So if you have 3 generations living in one household, you're eligible. And I'm sure I'm forgetting one of the other categories. It is quite broad. The underlying health conditions were broadened last week as well. So again, at this point in time, if you want a vaccine, go look at that criteria. I think there's a really good chance that you fit, and we have appointments that are still available for this week. So you can actually go onto our website right now, chdinc.org/GB, which stands for Get Vaccinated. Thanks for putting that up there. And you can get an appointment right now if you fit into any of those eligibility criteria. I think we talked last time as well, but I really think it's worth mentioning again. I know that a lot of people that are interested in getting vaccinated themselves really care about our community. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have said, oh, other people need it more than I do. Or, I want to make sure that the people who have, more serious conditions than I do, or who are in an older age category, or are working in the grocery store or a restaurant, are able to get it before me. What I want our community members to know is that we've had appointments available, and those folks have definitely had opportunities to get the vaccine, and you can keep them safe and protect them by getting the vaccine yourself. Me getting the vaccine, you getting the vaccine, we keep each other safe by getting the vaccine. So don't feel like you should wait and give it to somebody else. And if there's vaccine available and you're in one of the groups and you're interested, please schedule an appointment and get it as soon as you can.
And, as much as we had talked about this, it didn't really equate to me that this was happening at the Riveria, the old Riveria school. And I think part of it is because when you did some COVID testing early on, you kind of staged that at CHD. And so it's funny because both Alex and I showed up at CHD, the main office, and they're like, yeah, it's over at Riveria. And you guys had it set up. I mean, there was, I think from, and it was, it wasn't a very busy time. At least that's what, as I was leaving, there was a lady who apparently had been watching the line previously, and she said, oh, I'm so excited to be here. There's a short line. But I mean, from the time Alex walked in the front door to the time he was vaccinated, and there was a little bit of an S line that he kind of walked through, but I mean, it was, I don't know. he had to wait a half an hour, but I mean, it probably was only there 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before he actually got the shot. So it was well organized.
Yeah, and like I said, our team has put a lot of time and effort into organizing it. So, and they keep getting better and better each week. And we really worked hard to, keep the time that people are there as minimal as possible. And so, we really do work on creating efficiencies. I think usually, you can get through the front part of the process where, we're checking you in and making sure that you're not symptomatic, getting your intake paperwork done, waiting in line to get your vaccine. Like that process is pretty quick. There are times that ebbs and flows that we can't predict how many people will come at one time, even though we try to ask people to come at their appointment time. Sometimes we might have more or less. And what we found is that we can get people through the line pretty quickly. We have lots of folks that are there vaccinating, and the bulk of the time that people are there are for the monitoring period. And so we ask people to stay for 15 minutes typically. Sometimes we'll ask people to stay for 30 minutes. This really depends on your conversation with the person that's giving you your vaccine and wanting to make sure that we're monitoring you adequately based on any, potential reactions that you could have. But again, that's really erring on the side of cautions. The reactions are pretty minimal. It's very, very, very rare that happens. But again, just want to make sure that you don't have any response. And if you do, we can address it quickly and make sure that you get on your way safely.
Well, and the atmosphere was light and fun. And yeah, I think that people are generally feeling very relieved to be able to have access to that. I know Alex's health, his health issues, he was very excited to be a part of that. And then also excited to promote that he was going to be a part of that. He's the one that initiated it and said, "Hey, I'm going to get a vaccination." In fact, it's kind of funny because I think he heard we were editing the stuff that we did last week. And I think that he heard the bracket that was opening up. And because of that, then he initiated the appointment and then initiated us following him along and recording him too. So very cool.
Yeah, well, like I said, I feel like we are the lighthearted. I mean, it's interesting that you feel that when you're there, because I think that, for me, every time we give more vaccine, I just feel this kind of like a little bit of a weight lifting off my shoulders, because I know that, the people that I care about in the community, friends, family, like neighbors, like are getting protection from this virus. And in turn, when an individual gets vaccinated, our community is becoming closer and closer to getting protected from the virus. And one of the things that, OHA has pulled down the numbers from their website that give details about how many people in our county have been vaccinated. But, I think at this point we should be in the at least the 6,000 range of people that have started or completed their vaccine series. And so, for us to get to true herd immunity, we need to get quite a few more people vaccinated. So again, if you're interested and you're eligible, please schedule an appointment, and we'll continue to vaccinate people as long as we have vaccine and as long as there are people that are interested in getting it. I think I also want to add, though, I know that pharmacies have vaccine available, and I know that primary care providers, some of our primary care providers are also going to be able to be providing the vaccine now as well. And so this isn't about promoting CHD as a vaccination venue. This is about promoting vaccine opportunities. And so if it's easier or better for you to get it from your doctor, call your doctor. If it's better for you to go to a pharmacy, please do that. Just want to make sure that people know about all the options that are available in our community so they can take advantage of them.
And the governor made an announcement today, and kind of tell us about that, Carrie.
Which announcement did she make today? About opening it up to the vaccine? Sorry, there were two announcements today, and one you and I didn't even have a chance to talk about because it literally came right before we were jumping on. So I guess the big announcement that I learned of myself on the news this morning is that the governor has decided to allow us to open vaccine to everybody on April 19th. So less than 2 weeks from now,
Right.
We'll be able to open it up to everybody. And I have shared before, and I'll share it again now. We have our CHD website where you can go schedule appointments. And we also have our listserv where you can sign up and get announcements about when appointments will continue to open up, the chdinc.org/subscribe. And I expect that within the next couple of days, we'll open up appointments for next week. I don't know if we'll be opening them up yet for the week of the 19th, but as soon as we do, we'll update it on our website, send out an email to that listserv. And so again, anybody who's interested, we won't have to be talking about eligibility criteria anymore. We'll just be able to say, please come on down and get your vaccine. And
for them to schedule that, again, is back to the GV URL, correct?
Yes. And I do want to say just a couple more things before we move on from vaccine. I think you were talking about our vaccine clinics that we're doing down at Riviera Activity Center. And I do want to just mention again the wonderful support we have from our volunteers. We have a lot of nurses, nursing students, folks that are giving their time as volunteers to give the shots. But we also have volunteers that are helping with, screening people at the door, doing, all kinds of jobs at our vaccine events. They're giving their time. They're our community-based organizational partners, the Red Cross. And the other thing that I do want our community to know is that we have folks that speak a lot of different languages that are commonly spoken in Union County. So again, really just trying to get the word out that if there's some reason why you think it might be a challenge for you to get a vaccine appointment, or you think there might be a barrier because of language or anything like that, please reach out. I know we have the information posted on our website about how you can access different languages, who can help you walk through the whole process. So, really just want to express our gratitude to the team at CHD who's worked so hard to put these events on, but also the volunteers and community-based organizations that have supported our work.
And I saw and heard lots of friendly faces, lots of people I knew that retired school teachers, people that just, they were looking to help. And I think that the nurse that gave the vaccination to Alex was actually an OHSU student nurse. And so there's just, there's lots of people I think that are chipping in to help, and that's very cool. And that also just adds to this warm, inviting family, feeling. So great atmosphere.
Yeah, really glad to be doing it.
Good. And so tell me what's next. What are you wanting to move on to? Yes, go on.
I do think one other thing. So, because we've developed this pretty efficient vaccination clinic system, like I said, we've had lots of time to refine it and improve on it. It really does give us the ability to expand and contract based on demand. And so, it's a little bit difficult at this point for us to know how many people we have left to vaccinate in the general population. We don't know how many people in our community, the 20,000 or so residents that are left that we haven't reached yet. We don't know how many of them will want to take the vaccine. So we'll definitely, do our best to try and meet the demand, but it will continue to be limited by the vaccine that is available to us. So we're still waiting on vaccine from OHA. So as much as we get, we try and get it out. If we feel like we need help from our partners, we're working with them, like Grand Run Hospital and other clinics, to give them vaccine, working with the pharmacies. So I think, we'll do our best in that initial week when it opens up to the general public to get as many people as we can, but we're going to keep at this as long as we need to help people get the vaccine if they want it. And again, based on how much we're getting. I know the Johnson and Johnson issue is maybe, I don't know how else to describe it, but there was, the state has for quite some time been expecting Johnson and Johnson to come and increase in their allocation, and then therefore allow us to increase the number of people we're vaccinating. They had some issues with production, which I think at this point means that we may not be getting as much of that Johnson and Johnson vaccine as we had originally anticipated. So I think at this point, it's hard to know what the supply will look like going forward. We were able to get some of the Johnson and Johnson vaccine. And so I think next week we'll be offering some of that vaccine through our vaccine clinic. So, I know there may be some people in our community that have a preference for that. So I just want to make sure folks know that that will be an option. If they're interested in Johnson and Johnson, we know that some of our local pharmacies are also getting that option. And after we do those clinics, the next clinics, I'm not sure when we'll be getting more. And then I think I've already touched on this, but I'll just say it again. We're working to try and get some Pfizer so we can vaccinate those 16 and 17-year-olds that are eligible now or will be eligible on the 19th.
Wow. So then the Pfizer vaccine specifically is the one that is approved for younger teenagers, 16 and 17. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else?
I will point out the other news of the day.
Yes.
Sorry, and it might not be earth-shattering news, but I feel like it's worth sharing. Right before we hopped on, I got a media release from the governor's office, and it looks like they're making some changes to the risk category determinations. And so because I haven't had a lot of time to pour over this, if I misstep in explaining it, folks can go reference the governor's media release to make sure that what I'm sharing is accurate. But she's basically said that as we move through our pandemic and we have more vaccine, that case counts and test positivity, which are the criteria that we're currently using to move counties between the different risk categories, are not alone the only indicator that is. We need an additional indicator. And really that indicator is the severity of disease. And so what it sounds like is that if you, for counties to move into the extreme risk category, that there's going to be a third metric, which is a statewide hospitalization, I believe. And so essentially, if you, a county, for example, meets the case counts and the test positivity rate that would put them into the extreme category, they would not move into that category if the statewide hospitalization rate was below a certain threshold. So it sounds like to move into that extreme risk category, there's going to be a third metric that they're looking at. And so again, if the severity of disease is low, we may have high case counts, but if people are not ending up with severe illness that's leading to hospitalizations, it sounds like they may not require counties to move into extreme risk. And if I got it wrong, then I'm sure folks will let me know. Please refer to the governor's press release. It's a little bit complicated. You and I have talked about it before, this extreme risk, high risk, movement week, morning week, like it's all been a little bit complicated. So we're just adding a little bit more into there. And I haven't had enough time to really pour through it to be able to explain it well. But I did want people to know since that had just come out today.
So, and that's good because I don't, if we have that correct, if you have that dialed into what that's saying, the point is that it makes it a little easier for counties that have moved out of extreme risk to stay out of that troubled zone, which then affects restaurants and, local economics in a huge manner. So that's good.
Yeah. I think that the potential risk is that if there are hospitalization, extreme severe disease in other parts of the state, but not here, that could impact us. So again, it's hard to know, but I know this week it benefited some counties because they were slated to move into extreme. and they didn't. Fortunately, we've been in moderate for the last few movement weeks, and I'm hoping that we can stay there and maybe someday even go down to low. That'd be great.
Well, and I think that it's important. I mean, I'm just going to throw in a little personal reminder here is that, it still is deadly for some folks, and we can't, I think that largely, most common people kind of have moved through this without a huge amount of impact, but for some, it has impacted them significantly. And, I have a dear friend, Carol Buckley, who has been involved in the Elgin Opera House for years and years and years. And I was in a play out there, My Fair Lady, in 2016, and got to know her well. And she passed away last week because of COVID complications, and I'm going to be at her funeral service this afternoon. So it's just, it has severe impact on some folks, which is just a good reason for us to remember to continue to be diligent. We just have no way of knowing. It's so surprising that it's like, oh, wow, because there is no way of knowing how severe it might be for some folks, and other people might move through COVID and they never even knew they had it. And so, it's, I guess that, we still have to have a tremendous amount of grace for people around us, because those people that have experienced death in their family, it's kind of like if you have a loved one that dies in a car accident, from then on, every time your kids go out the door, you worry about them being in a car accident, even though the chances of them dying in a car accident is pretty small. Your entire life is affected by that, and we still have significant number of people that are being impacted by, severe health issues or death. So, yep, it's still a thing.
Yeah, and I do try and remember that. I think, I think sometimes it's easy to think that things won't happen to us, right? Like,
exactly.
And I do think that people are still having very serious cases of the disease, and sometimes they are passing away. It does have that impact, and I think it is important to remember. And I do think that, again, you and I have talked about this before, but this really is about being of service to others in our community, taking care of each other, taking care of our families, friends, and neighbors, and people that we don't know. And even if we don't think it's going to impact us, or we're not worried about it impacting us because we're willing to take that consequence, it's still okay to be kind to others and take actions that are thinking of other people around you in our community. And I do also want to say that if you don't know somebody who's had COVID and is experiencing like very long-term potential impacts that are literally life-altering, like, I think it is hard to imagine that could happen. But there are people that also come through the COVID but have health impacts that are lasting well beyond the acute case of the disease. And so again, just really trying to think of others, keep each other safe, take care of each other in our community. And I know that Union County, that's our Union County spirit. So I appreciate those reminders.
Yeah, I was talking to a fairly young man yesterday, and he was talking about some of the complications of his heart that maybe are a part of him having COVID, and so, yeah, I think we're going to be sorting those kind of things out for a while, and the other thing is, someone was telling me, is like, yeah, some people are actually dissing on others for taking the vaccine. It's like, what? Yeah, I mean, people just need to be able to have the room to do whatever they want to do. If they want to take the vaccine, great. Those people that take the vaccine, for crying out loud, don't shame those that didn't. But we just, I don't know. I just really wish that we could get off this judgment train that is so much a part of our society right now. But oh well.
Well, I am really grateful to be here to be able to provide information to the community about the vaccine. And if there are questions, I'm sure a lot of them are answered on our website, but folks have really specific questions that might help them make a decision about getting the vaccine. We're always happy to answer them. So I really appreciate the opportunity each week or every other week or however often I come on here to say hey to you.
Well, and we did 2 weeks back to back here just because of the number of Tuesdays there are in this particular month. But thank you for jumping in with me today, and thank you for your consistency. And I know it's your job. You're just plugging away, saying the same thing over and over again. And but I appreciate your realness. I appreciate your vulnerability and the balanced approach that I know you personally take. So, way to go.
Thanks. Well, it is my job, but I do deeply care about Union County and its residents. And so I am here to try and make our lives better. So thank you for helping me do that.
Good. All right. And thank you, Eastern Oregon, for joining us. And we will see you next time.